And welcome to another at-home edition of MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. Matt Vasgersian from the home studios, along with Dan Plesac and Carlos Pena, courtesy of NTT Home Plate Cam. We've got a good show for you tonight. Some Yankees Red Sox folklore. We'll visit with Joe Girardi coming up in just a bit. And Dan, I, for one, am still optimistic that there will be baseball in 2020.
Matt, I am too. I know we're looking for the health and safety of the players and the people all associated with the game, but I, like you, fingers crossed, hoping that we get to see some Major League Baseball in 2020.
I'm with you guys. I'm very optimistic and needful, if anything, because just the world, certainly the United States, they need baseball back as their lifeline, as it's always been over the past many, many years. So I'm looking forward to it, guys.
You know, I think that players, teams certainly are optimistic as well. I know the Nationals have been chomping at the bit to get onto the field and defend their World Series championship. But the ring ceremony can wait no longer. The Nats have decided to do it virtually, and we'll televise it Sunday at 7 Eastern. We'll have it along with Masson, the celebration of the World Series champs. They have been sent their rings. They'll do a virtual presentation of the ring ceremony. We'll cover it Sunday night.
The number that we love to combine when we put orders together, and one of the real things that kind of determines how good of a hitter you are, is OPS. Now, OPS is a combination of on base plus slug. So if you have a high on base and you have a high slug every year, you're a Hall of Fame hitter.
We thought we knew Joe Girardi until we heard him conducting a virtual math class at the William M. Meredith School. Joe, first of all, congratulations. It's the only time I've seen a virtual class where all the kids are paying attention.
Yeah. Well, the idea was to try to change it up for the kids, because I can't imagine what kids are going through today, having to do this for over 2 months when they're used to seeing all their friends. So we thought we'd give them something different. I have another one on Friday, which will be my fourth. We've talked about putting batting orders together. We've talked about why we don't bunt today and how difficult it is to bunt with the high velocity in the game. And I think Friday we're going to talk about when you kind of pull a pitcher, what you look for, clues that you look for. And it's all based on numbers, and it's kind of a roadmap for you.
Beyond teaching virtual math, we could ask you how you're killing time here, but we know that you don't kill time. You're using it to prepare. The question then becomes, how, in the absence of actually being at the ballpark, can you prepare for the season that we all hope we'll have this year?
Well, I think your computer is really helpful. The websites that you have from the team, the information you have on opposing hitters. I've tried to break down opposing hitters in our division and how we're going to try to get them out, because it's kind of what I love to do. Tried to study the other teams. A lot of Zoom calls with coaches and players and front office people to talk about different things and how we can get better during this time, how we can make our websites better so it helps us prepare for games better. So those have been the big things for me.
Joe, more of a concern, are your pitchers going to be ready, or will your position players be ready?
You know, I think I'm more concerned about the position players. And here's why. I think pitchers have been able to throw and been able to treat it more like a January, early February, and have actually been able to throw bullpens. Where hitters in a lot of instances have not been able to hit, have not been able to get to cages, have not been able to get to weight rooms, maybe have not been able to prepare like they would for a normal spring training as much as pitchers have. And the thing about pitchers is I believe that we're going to have an expanded roster. So we're not going to ask them to go 6 or 7 innings from the beginning. You know, we're going to shorten their workload and have them go through the rotation a few times probably before they get up to 100 pitches during the season. So I'm a little bit concerned about what type of condition the position players will be and how often you can play them.
Yes, Joe, look, I know you did all your homework before going over to Philly, and you know the players that you were getting. However, you know, when you are out there on the field and now you are managing them and you have a closer relationship, who impressed you the most
this short spring training before it was interrupted?
Well, I was really impressed by Gene Segura and how he embraced, moving off a shortstop and saying, "I'll do whatever you want us to do. I will go to third. I will go to second, whatever you want us to do. But I would like to work at third base because I can play second base in my sleep because I've done it before." So that's what, he chose to do. And I thought he embraced it. I thought he played extremely hard. I thought he led in camp. He's so fun to be around, and I was really impressed with him. I was really impressed with Bryce and how he has a plan every day and puts his plan in motion and makes sure he gets accomplished what he needs to get accomplished every day.
Joe, Andrew McCutchen, do you think this time off may help Andrew McCutchen, that when you do hopefully start playing baseball, you'll be able to put him into the lineup?
Oh, I definitely think we're going to be able to put him in the lineup. He is cleared to go, I believe, and he's been running the bases. He's been one of those players that's been able to stay in spring training and work very hard. So I joked with him the other day on a Zoom call. I said, "Man, you get off that dreaded trainers list that they send to the front office every day. Who's getting treatment and who's getting work? You're getting off that soon." So I believe that he's going to be ready. Tommy Hunter will be ready. So, as hard as this has been, I think our club's going to improve because we're starting later.
David Robertson, kind of in that same vein, Joe. Is this going to help him maybe get back out there a little quicker?
Oh, I think so. I don't think he's going to miss April, May, and June now. So, he's talking about trying to get back in August. Is it possible? I guess it's possible. He's throwing. I think he's moving right along in his progression. You're just going to have to see as he takes the next steps and starts to get off the mound. But I believe that he's up to 120 feet. And the next progression, I think, would be getting off a mound.
Joe, I know you're very methodical in everything you do when it comes to your discipline, your nutrition, your training, and the way you manage your game. Now that you're looking at possibly like 80 games in the season, are you thinking about how you're going to approach the short season? It's more of a sprint now than that long 162-game marathon. What do you think you'll be doing different than you would if you had the long regular season?
Well, I think the one thing that you could probably do different is a guy like JT Realmuto. That he's not going to log 130, 140 games, so maybe you can push him, during this 82 stretch. A guy like Bryce Harper. The guys may not get as many days off, but so much of that is dependent on what kind of shape they are in day one of the games and how often they can go and where the off days are. But I think, from a position player, if I told you, Carlos, you're going to only play 82 games in a season, you say, well, I'm going to be fresh as a daisy by the end of the year. But it could be 82 games in 90 days. That's the thing. But I think you might be able to push your position players a little bit harder once they get in good shape.
Well, Joe, we appreciate the time. We don't want to interrupt your lesson planning for the next virtual math class. So tell the kids we said hey. And we hope to see you at the ballpark real soon. Thanks for the visit.
Oh, I can't wait, guys. It's great to see you. It's great to see everyone smiling and healthy, so I look forward to seeing you.
Let's take a break. When we come back, players, coaches, everybody's dying to get back to the ballpark, including Dropkick Murphys. How they're making that happen at Fenway Park next.
MLB Tonight is presented by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966. Visit campingworld.com today.
Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. Well, it's been quiet at Fenway Park in Boston because of the quarantine until a week from this Friday, that is, May 29th. The Streaming Out of Fenway free live stream performance takes place, starring the wildly popular Boston-based band Dropkick Murphys. They'll be joined by no less than Bruce Springsteen, who'll join them remotely, a full electrical performance, no live audience, simulcast worldwide from Fenway a week from Friday, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, on the band's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch pages. Ken Casey handles lead vocals for the Murphys. Ken, tell us about this big performance you guys have coming up.
Anytime I can get, listen, I started sneaking into this park over the right field wall back when I was 14, and I'm still trying to weasel my way in here any day I can. So if there's a walkthrough or anything, I'm here. And it felt great to be walking down Yawkey Way and into the park. And Boston and Fenway is Boston in summertime, is Fenway. It's awesome. And we did a stream on March 17th on 48 hours notice on St. Patrick's Day, and that was. We were able to do a full show because it was just as things were getting shut down. I think the day we did our performance, it was maybe no groups of more than 25 people. And then within days after that, it was, down to 10. And you saw everyone from Elton John to the Coldplay guy having to perform on their couch, So we were psyched that we could do a full show like that. And we wanted to do it again. And what we knew we'd need a lot of distance this time. So we were looking for some outdoor possibilities. But, like I said, Fenway is synonymous with summertime. We have a great relationship with the Red Sox that we're grateful for. And we went to them and they said, no problem. And we've played here many times, but we've never, nor has any band ever played on the infield diamond. They treat that like sacred ground, and because there's not current baseball playing, they're being a little more lax with us. So we'll be basically in the positions of the infielders as we perform the concert.
I'm going to channel my Somerville, Mass-born father by asking, what would Rico Petrocelli think about the Murphys being on the infield? I think it's pretty cool. You guys are going to be at each base. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, so it'll be, guitar player Tim at third base, our banjo player Jeff at shortstop. Our drums will actually be on or right behind where the second base bag would be. Bass player Kevin will be where second baseman would be, and guitar player James will be at first base, and myself and Al will be running around the infield, doing a circle pit around the pitcher's mound, just acting like fools. I'll definitely be smuggling a ball and bat and a glove in that day, I'm sure. So
that's great. I mean, you guys are such a live event. I know the vibe at one of your shows, and I'm sure you're going to do your best to capture it. With Springsteen joining you remotely, it's my understanding that he's going to play one of your songs, and you're going to play one of his songs. Am I guessing right that it might be something from We Shall Overcome, his Pete Seeger tribute? Because that's kind of in your wheelhouse.
It is that stuff's in our wheelhouse, and so is his Bruce's song American Land, which is very Celtic inspired, and we're going to do that song together. I've had the opportunity to sing that on stage with Bruce several times, including one night here at Fenway. And Bruce is so rock and roll, he doesn't give you any. I'll be at a show enjoying a Springsteen concert, and I'll get a text from the tour manager mid-show saying, hey, Bruce just told me he wants you up here for the encore. And you're like, what? And so I've got to sing it here with him, and now I'll get to do it again. We're going to have him up on the Jumbotron joining us because we figure that's the next best thing to having him here, unless he surprises us and choppers in and lands in center field. I don't know.
That's amazing. Hey, you are such a fan of Boston area sports. I know it's part of the band's identity too. And you voiced a documentary on our sister network about the Bruins. Can you prioritize your love for the 4 New England-based league sports teams? Go Patriots, Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics. Put them in your pecking order as a fan.
Oh, well, you see me wearing my Larry Legend shirt. So, I would say so when I'll talk about the Celtics first, not putting them necessarily at number one, but, I was, my teens were in the 80s. I'm an 80s kid. I would say the Bruins, Red Sox are hand in hand, the Bruins were more my team and the sports just so fast and rough. But the Red Sox and baseball, it's so summertime and such a family thing. And those are the 2 sports that, I would go to with my grandfather who raised me. So growing up as a punk rock fan, football was like the meathead jock sport. I wasn't really a football guy, But you could be a punk rocker and still like baseball and hockey. That was allowed to a degree.
All right, baseball and hockey, you're talking our language down here. We should also mention, Ken, that during the live stream a week from Friday, there's a text to donate campaign supporting 3 great nonprofits, Boston Resiliency Fund, Feeding America, and the Greater Boston Habitat for Humanity chapter. This great event, again, coming up as a free live stream a week from Friday, May 29th. The Dropkick Murphys, joined by Bruce Springsteen. We really appreciate the time, Ken. Best of luck. We'll be watching a week from Friday, man. Have a great time.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for letting us do this, MLB, and God bless you guys. We'll see you on the 29th.
Well, no mention of the Red Sox is complete without talking about the Yankees, and no mention of Red Sox-Yankees is complete without talking about Carlton Fisk and Thurman Munson and Luke Piniella and 70s fisticuffs. A little preview of what's coming up on the network Thursday next.
Home Plate Cam is presented by NTT.
Here comes the runner, here comes the throw, and let's see.
I had a choice, fly or just run over the catcher. I chose the latter.
And they have a fight. Here they go, Pella and Bill. And the bench is empty. Things have gotten out of hand here at Yankee Stadium. Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
Some guys that you didn't mind mixing it up with on that team, and he was one of them.
And Bill Lee is really hurt.
Just an average day in New York.
Boy, Luke Piniella blown up Carlton Fisk, touched off an epic brawl between the Red Sox and Yankees on this date, May 20th, 1976. And, you don't celebrate brawls per se, but we'll celebrate the rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox Thursday, all day on MLB Network with some of their all-time classic matchups, postseason tilts, epic performances, big-time brawls like the one we just watched. When you watch that one, it kind of reminds you, Dan, that although the Red Sox and Yankees are rivals to this day, they really, truly despised one another back in the 70s.
Matt, there's no question at all. And it seemed like the Red Sox wanted what the Yankees had all the time, all those World Series titles, and they were tired of being the little brother. And as you saw there in that mix, Lou Piniella and Carlton Fisk going at it, there was some old Don Zimmer footage on the outside of that brawl. That was a good one.
Dan, look, they hated each other in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. I mean, I went to school over there in Boston. They hated each other still then. I'll tell you, in the early 2000s, in that first decade of the 2000s, I was part of the race ball club, and they still hated each other then. I'm not sure how it is right now. I think things are getting a little bit better, but the rivalry is still going. I wouldn't say that they hate each other, but it's just always fun to see the Yankees and the Red Sox go at it.
I mean, since then, of course, Major League Baseball has cleaned things up, and umpires enforce that a little bit more now. Keeping players on the bench is a little bit more of a priority. We saw Bill Lee get hurt there. That cost him 2 months of the season back in '76. Mm-hmm. Would you believe that 30 years later to the date, May 20th, 2006, there was another brawl? It was an inner city battle. This one caught everybody by surprise. Michael Barrett, great dude. A.J. Pierzynski, great dude. Both catchers, they collide at the plate, and then they get into it. Barrett with just a roundhouse punch to A.J.'s face.
You know what I remember most about this? Was great, Matt. What I remember most about this, the White Sox were trying to get A.J. Pierzynski voted on to the All-Star team, and their slogan was, "Punch AJ," which they took from that incident right there.
I'll tell you what, AJ lives really close by, and look, I didn't like AJ when we played, and I told him that to his face. But even now when we go golfing, Dan, he's one of those guys that when they sink in a big putt, his face just makes you want to fight. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. You see him at the post office, you want to fight him. So AJ knows that. But like you said, man, he's a great dude and just an intense competitor. So maybe he robbed some of his competitors the wrong way, but great guy.
All right, we're going to take a break from name calling to nicknames. Some of the game's all-time great players have also had some of the game's all-time great nicknames hung on them. We'll kick a few of them around and suggest some non-stars with great nicknames next. Welcome back. MLB.com's Cut 4 has a nice little poll running right now. You can weigh in with what you feel the best nickname in Major League history is. Anywhere from a star player to a role player. Dan, Carlos, why don't you take a stab at this first? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I have to go with Big Papi. You know, whenever you have a nickname that makes no reference to your name, and people in Antarctica will know who Big Papi is, that's pretty cool right there. And of course, everything he did, he has earned it.
I'm going to go with 2 Red Sox, Matt, 2 pitchers. The Rocket, Roger Clemens, and I always loved the nickname Dennis Oil Can Boyd. So I'm going to go with 2 former Red Sox.
I like that. I would suggest Rich Garces, who was nicknamed El Guapo because of his likeness to the Three Amigos villain. But I think Big Papi's going to win, or even Big Poppet. Thanks. Thank you for your support, Los. Get okay.
I got you.